What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog, back in Standard, this time playing Jeskai Mill. That's right, everybody's playing Mono Blue. Actually, not so much Mono Blue these days, but some Mono Blue, but mostly Dimir, Mill, and Rogue Mill. Personally, not a fan of combining strategies like that. Like, if you want to play Rogues, play Rogues. If you want to play Mill. When you do, like, try to do both, I feel like you're just kind of hurting yourself. Yeah, you're still going to win some games, but it's all about consistency, you know, for me. So this is what we've got here. We're trying to play around Teferi's Tutelage and some of the powerful card draw spells that we have in Jeskai colors. So Tutelage, of course, 3 mana, enchantment. When enters, draw a card, discard a card, and every time you draw a card, target opponent mills 2 cards. So of course, when you enter the battlefield, this will trigger and you'll draw a discard, and that will get your opponent to mill 2 cards. And we're playing all 4 because we want to have at least a couple of these out on the battlefield. And then we have pretty much everything else in where our deck is allows us to draw cards, so it'll trigger our Teferi's Tutelage. So we got some 2 mill deck, and there are, you know, lots of people are kind of planning around mill these days. We need some graveyard interaction, so we're going to run main deck Soul Guide Lantern as a 2 of. Great thing about this one is it has the bottom sentence here, or activated ability, if you will, sacrifice Soul Guide Lantern to draw a card. So even if our opponent isn't doing anything that cares about their own graveyard, no escape, no reanimation, nothing like that. Jumpstart. What's that new? I don't remember what it is. Not Jumpstart, but whatever that new one is from Theros. We get to, you know, sack it to draw a card. And of course, drawing a card triggers our Teferi's Tutelage. So there we go. Essence Scatter seems main deckable these days. Plenty of creature decks running around out there. So 2 of those. Trying to fit more copies of Omen at Sea, but ended up just on 2. Trying to make room for some removal, especially when running Teferi's Tutelage, which is like our win condition, but doesn't really affect the board otherwise. And we're essentially a control deck. We need to find as many removal spells as we can, and so we don't have as much room for things like Omen of the Sea. So that's why we're running just the 2 copies. It does draw us a card. Also lets us scry multiple times, which is pretty sweet. Fire Prophecy here lets us kill something and draw a card. There's plenty of aggro decks that are running up to 3 toughness creatures. You know, like Gruul has plenty of threats that you can answer, in addition to rogues, especially, things like that. Banishing Light is a 3 of, just nice utility removal. Wanted to run all 4, but kind of need to make room for other things. Obviously, I'd rather run all 4 Tutelages, things like that. And also Midnight Clock, since you know, we're running a mill deck, so we're likely to get paired up against mirror matches a fair number of times, and just the fact that there is enough mill and rogues and things like that that are running around out there, this gives us our basically anti-mill card. Also ramps us. We can tap it for blue mana. We can also sink mana into this to speed up our hour counters on this, and once we get 12 hour counters, we get to shuffle our hand and our graveyard into our library, then draw 7 cards and exile Midnight Clock. So even if it's not like a something that's trying to mill us, then we still get to draw 7 cards, and that could potentially kill your opponent in a mill kill. By drawing 7 cards and getting 7 triggers. That could be pretty good right there. Especially by the time you've gotten 12 hour counters on this, you probably milled them a fair amount. Anyways, 2 Valakut Awakening. Not completely sold on this card, but I think the fact that it is a land that also has card draw tacked on to the other side of it, I think it was worth running. It's probably pretty situational. I haven't got a ton of value off of it in some of the games that I've tested with it, but something that's worth running here just because it is a land that can also represent card draw. You put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, then draw that many cards plus 1. So that's where I was initially would rather run something like a Salundi Vision or whatever, but that just says put it into your hand. It doesn't say draw. This one says draw, so that's why we're running this one. All 4 Shatter the Skies. Obviously, we need ways to deal with our opponent's threats. You know, we do have Fire Prophecy, Essence Scatter, things like that, but Shatter the Sky also helps us clean up basically anything. 3 Inscription of Insight. I feel like this is a pretty fantastic card because we are going to be getting to the point where we can kick this for 8 mana. Which sounds like a lot, but you know, we're a control deck, a mill deck, so we're trying to get up to the late game, and so having 8 mana does not seem unreasonable at all. And sometimes you have to fire this off just to return 2 target creatures to their owner's hands, just to slow your opponent down while you kind of dig for more answers. If you've been able to Shatter the Sky or control the board, otherwise you can just try to draw 2. And if you do this in the late game, you can potentially kick it and do all 3 modes, where the third one is target player creates an XX blue illusion creature token, where X is the number of cards in their hand. And since our deck is all about drawing cards, we should get a fairly sizable creature token out of this. And in theory gives us an alternate win condition. So there you go. Running 2 copies here of Narset of the Ancient Way. Running this instead of Teferi, you could obviously make a case to run Teferi as well as Narset. Maybe go 2 inscriptions, 1 Teferi, something like that. But running Narset because she ramps us, and we do have some expensive spells that we're trying to cast in this deck, which we're about to get to. +1, gain 2 life, add Jeskai colors basically, and only to cast a non-creature spell. Well, our entire deck is non-creature spells, so no problem there. -2, draw a card, then you can discard a card whenever you discard a non-land card this way. Narset deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to target creature or planeswalker. So she's life gain, ramp, and removal all at the same time. And her -6 kind of, in theory, gives you an alternate win condition. You get emblem with whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this emblem deals 2 damage to any target. So the fact that she starts at 4 loyalty and it's -6 makes it pretty reasonable to actually get there to her emblem. Obviously, her emblem isn't super powerful, but it can definitely add up, especially as we're controlling the board so well. 3 copies here of Shark Typhoon. Definitely make a case for all 4, but I wanted to shave it off to 3 to kind of make room for some other things. Just a powerful card in general. And so our late game deck, we got Emeria's Call as a 2 of, and Seagate Restoration as a 2 of. Emeria's Call, of course, lets us make 4/4 Angel tokens, which again represents a potential alternate win condition by killing your opponent with creatures in the air. The non-angel creatures getting instructed unturned is not really relevant. I mean, I guess we do have the where'd it go? Inscription token potentially, maybe, or a Shark Typhoon token. So maybe. Seagate Restoration, of course, draws us cards, a lot of cards, hopefully, so it's a good way to kind of turbo mill your opponent, especially by the time you have enough mana to cast this, and you probably have a couple tutelages on board, you're able to control the board, so even if you tap out because this is a sorcery, you probably aren't going to die, and you'll be able to just kind of control the board from there on out. You draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand +1, and you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. And of course, both these can come in as lands. If you pay 3 life, you can even have them come in untapped. And this was the real inspiration for the deck here, if you will, Inspired Ultimatum. We've seen the Teamer one get tons of play, especially when Omnath was around, and even since then, people are still kind of playing it a little bit with like Terror of the Peaks because they've kind of seen how, busted it can be. But Inspired Ultimatum, not a card that sees a ton of play. Obviously, one of the lesser of the ultimatums that we got from Ikoria, but I'm here to show you that it can still provide some pretty good value. Definitely been pretty pleased with this card. So I started running 3 copies of this because I want to really highlight it. Correct thing might be to just run 2 of these and maybe run like a 4th Shark Typhoon. That'd probably be better, especially if you don't have 3 copies of Inspired Ultimatum, because this is a rare, hard to justify crafting this as a rare if you don't have it. Shark Typhoon is just generally better. But yeah, Inspired Ultimatum, target player gains 5 life, deals 5 damage to any target, and you draw 5 cards. So not as powerful as the Seagate Restoration, which has potential to draw you like 8 cards, 6, 7, 8 cards. But yeah, being able to do all 3 of these things at once is pretty sweet. You'd have to spend double blue, triple red, and double white to do this. And if you notice that red is kind of our splash color, we have the Fire Prophecy and the Valakut Awakening, which is land, and of course the Narset, which only requires a single red. So it does have to come into mind. Keep that in mind a little bit as you're sequencing some of your land drops, because you can't be too all in on the white and blue aspect of it. You do have to keep in mind that eventually you will need triple red to cast things. So I was originally running 3 of each of these temples, but now I'm just down to 2 because I feel like it was just too many tap lands, and it was kind of there were definitely games I lost because I had to play a tap land instead of a untapped land, and that definitely screwed things up. Even though the fixing and the scry is pretty important, just end up shaving it down to 2. Obviously all 4 of the Triomes, and then 2 Needleverge Pathways, 2 Riverglide Pathways, and then 2 of each basic. Just trying to minimize the number of tap lands, but also having flexible mana base as possible. Sideboard, Disenchant, Negate, Mystical Dispute, Neutralize, Soulseer, Elspeth Conquers Death, Ox of Agonas for the any mill type strategy, and Sublime Epiphany, which is the blue. Alright, against Adam the Simple. Alright, hand seems pretty spicy. Watch us be up against the control deck. I Don't have seen Ultimatum here this early. I think I'd rather just grab a... well, if they're running, probably running Forsaken Monument. Maze Mind Tome. Let's just leave open Prophecy just in case. They didn't even scry with their Maze Mind Tome. Okay. So they're just a Ugin deck. Seems super original. Cool. Now they scry after we counter their potential way to ramp. Well, unfortunately, our game 1 game plan is kind of all about creature hate, which hasn't really been a problem. We're in a fair number of creature decks, but of course, we're just getting matched up against a control deck right now. Ugin. Colorless Ugin. That's so cool, bro. That's super cool. Triome, Mountain, Temple, so we're good on red. So we can Prophecy, Omen. Unless that Prophecy, it doesn't discard anything, it just shuffles it back into your library. Okay, all the Inquisitive Puppets. I guess if you have a Forsaken Monument, that'd become, what, two 4s? Sure. Well, they can exile them in response to the Prophecy and won't get that value, so... not sure it's worth it. Take Tutelage plus the land. Yeah, white source. Teferi's Tutelage, discard a Prophecy. Pass turn. So we can scatter a Solemn Simulacrum or another Palladiumer to slow their mill down. Okay, there's a Forsaken. Well, we'll just Shatter the Sky then. Seagate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're still a little ways from casting that, so we'll go ahead and play it as a land. Do we pay for it? No. If they resolve a Palladium Mirror, we can just Prophecy it on our turn. There goes the Maze Mind Tome. As a mill deck, obviously we don't care about life totals. We do care about our permanents. So if they have Ugin, then we're pretty screwed here. Crawling Barrens, you got me. 6/6. No Ugin. Alright, let's see. Target player, that's me. Target a creature, player, or planeswalker, that's you. Seems pretty good. No Ugins, just actual colorless creatures. Are you not running Ugin? You have to run Ugin. Everybody runs Ugin. Okay, so they shatter our 7/7, and because it's a 7/7, we actually get to draw a card off the Shatter the Sky. That's kind of hilarious. I find that quite amusing. We get to Turbo Mill them next turn with a Seagate Restoration, so that's pretty good. Getting the 5 life was pretty huge. Of course, if it's not enough, it's possible that we just die to... Let's see... I think we got them. Otherwise, we would just potentially die to a Crawling Barrens. That feels bad. Alright, so that's 16 mils. That's not quite enough. Well, there's an Ugin. 5. We have no maximum hand size, so pass. And if they kill our shark token, then we're just dead. Well, we can make another one. With our Omen, we'll trigger our Shark Typhoon as well. A couple more mills. Let them go to combat first. Just make sure they don't have like a Banishing Light or something like that. Sure. Good game. No, you're playing Ugin, so to be perfectly honest, it's not a good game. Obviously, Ugin is legal. It is what it is. Can't stand the card personally. If you feel differently, that's fine. Just you can literally just have like a terrible deck, play horrible. Your opponent will just dominate, and then you'll drop an Ugin, and then you just win the game. Like that's so stupid. So they're running at least 2. At least 2 Ugins. Alright, well, basically just treat it like a control matchup. Do you want Disenchants? I'll take out the Fire Prophecies, Banishing Light. Take out Midnight Clock. Don't think that's too relevant. 3 more cards. Oh yeah, Soul Guide Lantern doesn't seem super relevant here. Obviously, they're running lots of colorless creatures, so we do want that. Banishing Light can deal with the Forsaken Monuments, Ugins, things like that. Could shave 1 Shatter. Essence Scatter still seems reasonable. Basically, I just have to protect ourselves from Ugin, try to turbo mill them otherwise. We obviously need our enchantments to mill them, and Ugin kind of negates all of that, just with a drop of a hat. Huh. I guess we temple here. I was thinking about doing the Emeria's call, but let's have a Negate open to us. Tutelage is fine, but I'd rather just draw more lands here, honestly. We have a pretty good hand otherwise with all these counter spells, and Shatter if they do just are able to flood the board with creatures. Obviously, Mystical Dispute against a essentially colorless deck doesn't really do a whole lot of good for us. Alright, so we got the Negate open to us, and if there's nothing to negate, we'll just Omen here, try to dig for more lands. Okay, they just draw some cards. Guess they're just playing the long game over there. Not trying to take advantage of our control deck to be a little more aggro. And sure. Narset. What point do we want to play Narset? Oh, there goes the Solemn Simulacrum. Helping them get to Ugin territory. Oh, we're missing double white. Do want a Narset here just to start plussing her, making our opponent attack into her. I feel like we need the negates just yet. Okay, Crystalline Giants. So they're stuck on 5 lands. With another draw here. Probably Shatter the Sky. No, just gonna swing at Narset. No problem. Another one. Alright, we'll have to bolt this in so we can have double white. Or actually, we probably should have just plus Narset. You can tell I don't play with her very often. Oh well. Gets 2 life back, so not really a huge deal, especially against this particular matchup. A lot of nice synergies here with Narset. Making a 4/4. Okay. I'm going to discard the Narset just to deal with the Stone Coil. Well, no, she has multicolored, so there's that. Oh, just plus. It's Inscription. Draw. Those are pretty good draws. I do need more lands here. Stuck on 5? Yeah. We have Negate open now. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they're 1 mana's away from Ugin. Should have Negate. We do have Elspeth. Conquers Death. But they are able to apply some pressure here. Let's see, that's a 3 mana spell. We could Elspeth it and just try to use it to get our Narset back. Unless, of course, they just Ugin. We have Banishing Light, so I guess... I don't guarantee they have Ugin here, right? Now just Banishing Light, that way we have Negate mana open. We have another Narset in hand, and we have the Elspeth Conquers Death, if they do just go for the Ugin play here. But they just want a Maze Mind Tome, just keep their hand nice and full. Not much we can do about the Stone Coil Serpent here. Well, I'm guessing they're just playing around counter magic by not playing their Ugin. I feel like they have to have it by now. Sublime Epiphany is pretty good. Let's see, Narset again. Maybe discard. What do I want to discard? Just plus. Could have exiled their puppet there just to make a 1/1 and then try to represent lethal. Alright, well they can't play Ugin now that they've gone for that. So maybe playing in a Negate here will give them a little more confidence to try to resolve an Ugin next turn. Alright, Sublime Epiphany. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 manas. We have to leave 6 open for Epiphany. Alright. Could also just Shark Typhoon for 5. Okay. See how they attack. Both at Narset. Oh. Okay. Sure, I'll make a 5/5. It's tempting to go after the Crawling Barrens before it gets any bigger. But whatever. Do we play Tutelage here? We have 2 Tutelage. Maybe we see what we draw first, I guess. And discard 1 if we, depending on what we hit. Alright, obviously don't care about this puppet, so we'll just plus. Auto tap, okay. So there's Tutelage. Get our mill strategy going. We'll discard a land here. Alright, now we got our mill plan online. They just have a little O2 puppet. Let's see, 2 lands open. So Mystical Dispute. We milled 1. Can't imagine they're running too many of those. Shatter the Sky. Nice insurance policy, but we're already able to control their board state. Alright, swing 5. So Shatter gives us some discard fodder for whenever we need it. Just leave open our counter magics. Now we got the shark token down. We have a nice nice counter magic. And a Crawling Barrens on my Narset. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana open. I mean, we're not really doing a whole lot with her. Oh, not an Ugin, so that's 1 less Ugin we have to worry about. We tap our Shark token down. So Crawling Barrens is getting to a point where we're pretty big. Unfortunately, we don't really have answers for Crawling Barrens, which kind of sucks. I have open mana, but they leave it with 8 tokens. I just want a Labyrinth, I guess. Pass the turn. Shatter the Skies. Wait a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Counter, return, copy, draw. You, me. Oh yeah, you got your 1/1. Look at that value. Cast trigger, so we do get to draw off the Shatter and Tutelage. Pretty sweet. Wow, yeah, you got me with that Skyclave Relic. You got me, buddy. Yeah, we can Omen here. Try to find a land so we don't have to necessarily discard. Do we hit them for 10 while they're tapped down? Sure. Okay, Maze Mind Tome. So if they tap out here, we are representing lethal. Just gonna get in with your 1/1. Okay, well, scry. We got the Neutralize and Trio. Do we even want? What else can we get here? Let's keep open all the counters, I guess. Maybe some card draw is what we need. We're down to 18 cards. So I can Labyrinth on one of our Shark tokens. Wait. Oh, okay. We're still doing this in combat? Oh, with the relics. Alright, well, they tapped out. Let's negate that. Wow. Opponent conceded. You have these relics still. So it's 1, 2, 3 manas. 4. So can we step down one of mine? I mean, they're not even. They're just frustrated. Huh. So we milled one Ugin. I mean, we only saw 2 in the first game, so maybe they're just running the 2 copies. Maybe that's all they have, because it is a, you know, mythic. But they're running plenty of Forsaken Monuments and things like that, so I'm assuming they're not on a budget. They could run all the Ugins they wanted. Especially Ondu Inversion. Huh, somebody could pretty premature concede there. Alright, against Muddy McBaggin. I don't have Triumph. Ultimatum in our hand. Triumph is fine though. So 4 lands we'll keep. Looks like on Triumph, and then we can scry next turn if we have a little more information on what our opponent is up to. Green. Go big deuce. Okay, so could be mono green foods. Could be like some kind of a Golgari. Okay, we have double white. Perfect. Obviously, in the wild, before we do anything with Seagate Restoration, so we can just play that as a land and then maybe Shatter. Mono green ramp is what it's looking like so far. Okay, Selesnya. Hit for 2. You got it. Okay, so they're not ramping anything. They're just going to attack. Make a food token. Okay, so they are stuck on lands, so I think that's fine. Okay, they found another green source. So this is Selesnya Adventures. I didn't realize they ran Llanowar of Visionaries. We'll Tutelage here, discard the Ultimatum since it's a ways away. Play the Valakut, just give us more options later. So we'll have ways to deal with our Shark Typhoon as enchantment, so this is just for cycle value. Pretty much any deck that can deal with enchantments, so you just cycle this. If they don't have ways to deal with enchantments and you're able to control the board, that's pretty much the only time you actually get to hard cast this. Legion Angel gets him another Legion Angel. It's a nice card advantage. I guess we Shark Typhoon for X equals 3. Block the Angel. They can make the Wolf indestructible and make it a 4/4. There's some lands. Alright, so they get to replay their Legion Angel. But that's fine. Shark Typhoon let us draw a card anyway. Alright, we mode up Elspeth, and an Elspeth conquers death. They're running an abnormally high number of cards. Let's just bounce. You're running some 80 card Selesnya deck. We can Turbo Mill, but obviously they've been able to apply pressure with these creatures. But Legion Angels, drawing them Legion Angels has kind of screwed them up now because they have too many cards in hand. You're going to Legion Angel just to get another Legion Angel and discard 2 cards? Is that worth it? You don't have to, it is a May ability. You really have to discard opponent, right? Was that really worth getting another Legion Angel? Just gonna keep all of them and discard. Can't be lands because you seem like you're stuck. Are they just now figuring out they have to discard 2 cards? Alright. Feasting Troll King. You got it. Do I have Seagate mana here? I do. They hit me for 4, maybe 8 if they have a Questing Beast. Hey, we just milled a Questing Beast. Let's just Turbo Mill. Show them what we're about. Show them what true power is like. Oh, you're playing the 70, 80 card, whatever dumb deck you got. So I'm not a fan of oversized decks like Banishing Light on our Teferi's Tutelage. And you do nothing else. Perfect. Shatter the Sky draws him a card. Fire Prophecy. Just banishing there, banishing. That seems fine. Narset was interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. This pathway is fine. Fate of Wishes, that's super annoying. Get a Narset here, and just plus. Got to hold up in Fire Prophecy. I don't want them to just add more creatures to the board. It does give us some life gain, so that's pretty helpful. We can Shatter or we can Inscription Kicker. Alright, 42 cards. Still have no idea how many they started with. Elspeth. Okay, well they can plus and kill our Narset. We're at 10, so it does buy us that life total. So she bought us 2 with her plus ability. Oh, they want to go wide. Well, yeah, let's shatter here. Oh, they're going at our life total. Okay. Seems pretty cool. What are you doing, dude? You're running some random number of cards in 3 colors. Getting a couple life back. Yeah, you get to draw a card. Yep. Tons of cards in hand. Yeah, we'll just leave open what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 manas. So we can Shark Typhoon for 3. We can Fire Prophecy. Yep, Legion Angel. Pretty sure you've already gone through all of them. And Gilded Goose. We want to shatter again. Elspeth is annoying, but it's not really doing too much against us. We'll see what we got. We want the land though? We'll just take the Soul Guide. So we can exile all their stuff. They do have 3 food tokens. You can only cast at sorcery speed though. Plus shatter. Yeah, draw some more cards. We want you to go through your deck. Soul Guide will pick off the Troll King. Don't want to do it now. I mean, they have an Elspeth at 1 that's about to go into their yard, and they have another one already in their yard. So let's see what they do. They're going to get some value, so let's let them have it. Right, so we got 4 open mana, so we can Shark for 2. We can double Fire Prophecy if they find some creature. You can even kill a Questing Beast with both of these. Doesn't feel good, but if we have to. Wicked Wolf coming down. Good target with the Fire Prophecy, but they just sack a food token. Oh, they're not even using their Elspeth. Just make a 2/2, I guess. I'm not sure what the point of not using their Elspeth is, but they have their reasons, I'm sure. Pass. Temple. Plus. Could also minus there. But I just want to get this inscription, I think. Well, you can bounce your Wicked Wolf back. And we'll make a 4/4. Sack your food. Oh yeah, give it indestructible. Yeah, 1 mana is open, so you can draw a card. Okay. Another tutelage. Maybe. We have to draw another card as well. Okay. So we may yet mill out this 80 whatever card deck. Play it on white, I guess. Take out the Elspeth. Oh, go ahead and exile your yard now. Don't even think about getting those Elspeths back. Alright, next turn we'll minus on our Narset. Obviously, Questing Beast's pretty bad here. We'd have a 6/6 though that can block it. But yeah, opponent not really in great shape. They can fight. They could make Wicked Wolf fight our Illusion. Sack all 3 of their tokens, have it as 6/6 indestructible. Guess if that's all they're doing with their turn, it's not the worst. Realm Cloaked Giant. Sure. Alright. Sack 1 more food, draw 1 more, sack 1 more food, make the 6/6. You got it. You got me, opponent. Down to 20 cards, so we're definitely in range. Well, we can double Prophecy their Wicked Wolf. We can just Banishing Light it. We got options here. Okay, Temple of Mystery. Sure. Oh yeah, gotta love the turn 20 Gilded Goose. Does give another food token. Pass. Essence Scatter is interesting. It's minus. Kind of want to play the Prophecy on the Gilded Goose just to trigger our tutelage. Oh, multiple tutelage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we have enough to do all the things. Land. Pretty sure we can get them here. Just tutelage into Fire Prophecy should be good enough. Maybe. Alright, our opponent finally had enough. Alright, what is this 80 card nonsense? Once in Future. That was the card that got us last time. There we go. Swift Response. Like if you just play like a normal 60 card deck, you just shave off a lot of this kind of mediocre stuff and just go for like a more focused approach. More Questing Beast and things like that, you probably would have had a much better chance. But you know, that's the way they like to play it, so whatever. Well, I don't think Midnight Clock is anything amazing here. Soul Steer seems fine. Might have enough stuff with their graveyard that this seems good. I mean, Omen of the Sea. Probably want some negates. Thorn blue Fae of Wishes. That could be something worth countering. Shatter still seems pretty good. Elspeth conquers death. Narset's okay. But I feel like they have lots of threats. It's gonna be hard to keep her alive. Bring in Elspeth Conquers Death. The exile removal is pretty powerful against them. Also, they do have ways to deal with enchantments, so maybe just some counter magic. Alright, let's make room for Neutralize as well. I'll try like that. Super grindy game with your 80 card deck making us work for it, but hey, still got there, even if it was a slightly early concession. So 80 cards exactly. Okay, so they're basically a Urian deck without Urian. Okay. Double Shark Typhoon. Got the turn 2 Trail of Crumbs. Alright, missing double blue for Neutralize. There's blue. We'll save the Soul Guide Lantern for one who can actually get some value off of it. Are you stuck on lands? Do we just tutelage here? Discard. What do we discard? Land? Shatter? Discard Shatter. We have 3 more. Maybe. See what we hit. See what we hit. Oh man, they came prepared with their 80 card deck. They got me. They got me. Fabled Passage. Grab a green source, I would assume. Now they're finding their lands. Alright, Valakut Awakening. Again, just not really getting value off the instant side, but definitely situations where in the late game if you top deck of that, or kind of the mid game, could let you refill, especially in game 1. But again, it just being a land and card draw, I still think it's worth running a couple copies. Okay, they're gonna sack their food to draw a card. No. Gilded Goose. Yeah, you got it. Another Soul Guide Lantern. Well, if they have all the answers for our enchantments, can be a bit of a long game, but still have the Shark Typhoon tokens, things like that can help us win. I mean, opponent's off to pretty kind of a slow start here. They're playing a very playing the long game over there as well. I'm not gonna cast anything. Oh, go ahead and draw a card. Make a 3/3. Could have made a case to tutelage after we had a counter magic backup, but fine with testing the water against the 80 card deck. But of course, they always seem to have the answers. Swift response. That's some premium removal right there. I mean, we're a control deck, a mill deck, and you still leave a card like that in. Okay. Not sure I agree with that decision, but I don't know their sideboard or their strategy. Obviously, we do have creature tokens and things like that, but that's not really a big part of what our deck is trying to do. Seems unlikely that we're actually going to kill you with these, but... Nothing else to do, so we'll make a 4/4. Try to put some pressure on them, get some cards out of their hand at least. Inscription. Tempting to Inscription here, but I think Neutralize might be worth holding open. We could Inscription, leave open Essence Scatterer. Well, Inscription probably finds us a land. They're going to get some card advantage going, but as a mill deck, you don't necessarily hate when your opponent draws cards because you kind of want them to have ways of going through their library. Elspeth Conquers Death. Does nothing against our token. You're reading Elspeth Conquers Death, dude, really? No. You're gonna sack a food token, give it indestructible from Essence Scatter? Oh, Negate. Why did they sack a food token in response? We'll let it resolve. That's fine. I'm not sure I understand. Okay, we'll Shatter the Sky. Seagate. Alright, leave open Neutralize. Pretty easy Neutralize target there. Elspeth Conquers Death isn't terrible. Gonna get some more value off some of these cards in hand, so let's wait until we can actually kick this Inscription. We'll just exile Questing Beast for now. So if we Elspeth Conquers Death, then they can Elspeth our Elspeth Conquers Death. So not ideal. Well, got him down to 61 cards. We're getting there. Alright, Charming Prince, not the best ultimatum target here, but I really just need to draw some cards. No. Oh, we're missing... What are we missing? 1, 2... 1, 2, 3, 4... Oh, we're missing one land. Okay. Well, we can Soulguide Lantern to draw a card as well, since we have a backup. Haven't seen any of their Elspeths or any other graveyard synergies facing Troll Kings. So I'll just draw a card, try to hit the land, then we can Inscription. Shatter. Fire Prophecy. Just pass. Alright, if nothing else, we'll just Prophecy their Charming Prince. If they play a creature. Alright, go and bottom that. Well, it is a land. We're light on untapped land, so we'll take it. Tutelage here. Not a counterspell. Discard Shatter, I guess. Alright, well now we force them to use their Elspeth Conquers Death, so it makes our Elspeth a little bit better. Okay, they just choose to play Sun's Nemesis instead. It does give us an ultimatum target. We'll gain 5. Target you. Alright, we'll punish them for not dealing with our Teferi's Tutelage. Alright, they do have 2 Feasting Troll Kings, but no ways in hand to actually get food. I mean, they have Elspeth Conquers Death. Alright, let's just do this now. Let's not even give them any options. So if they do Elspeth, it doesn't really do anything against me. Discard a Fire Prophecy. And these 1/1s aren't really going to kill us anytime soon. Okay, well they have nothing to get back with their Elspeth. Emeria's Call is interesting. Fire Prophecy, Banishing Light. Let's go to the Prophecy, I think. Alright, now we'll give them some stuff to get back. So let's Banishing Light their Elspeth. Could be bad if they have a way to get it back. I don't know, probably not playing this optimally, but control isn't normally my style. But I thought it was interesting to try, you know, a mill in a little bit different, a different fashion. Okay, they get to bounce their Trail of Crumbs. Sure. I'll get Urian off the board. Get a food token. $38. Alright, we'll kick. Bounce the tokens, effectively removing them. Ooh, those are pretty good. Yeah, I'll take both. Alright, so now we got a Negate backup for our Tutelage. Definitely keeping the Restoration in hand. And we got a 6/6 on board as well, protecting us from Questing Beast, so we're pretty well covered at this point. Do we care? I guess we can counter it just to keep our 6/6 around, since it can give us a little more defense. And it denies them the creature half of this thing, and if they counter it, then they'll at least get a counter out of their hand. I mean, us losing a 6/6 token isn't like the worst thing ever. Sure, you killed my 6/6 token. I already got my value off of my cards, so cool story, bro. Actually, we probably should have held that in hand. Should have held it in hand. So that's 2 less cards that we milled. But our opponent has seen enough. Ooh, super grindy there. So yeah, thanks for sticking around for those of you guys that are still here. Obviously, Mill seen a ton of play, but I haven't seen any Jeskai Mill. Inspired Ultimatum, not the ultimatum that sees the most play, so just kind of want to give that a shot. Obviously, Seagate Restoration, super powerful card, so just trying to control the board, get 1 or 2 tutelages down, hopefully, and then just kind of turbo mill your opponent. Obviously, 60 is the standard number, is what you should generally expect to have. Standard number of cards that you should expect to run up against, but you know, obviously Ryan is a thing too with 80 cards, but I mean, we beat that 80 card deck pretty well. Got some nice rewards here. Let's open a pack to celebrate here for those grindy matchups. And just we're at the gems stage of our Zendikar Rising pack openings. Alright, Inspired Tutelage. So yeah, like I said, you could run like Teferi instead of all 3 Inscription of Insights. But I've definitely found all 3 of these modes to be quite powerful, and so being able to kick it in the late game is nice. And so when you have, you know, say 3 copies, then you can, you know, scry 2, draw 2 on, you know, turn 4 or 5 1 if you have to, if you're looking for lands or removal, things like that, and not feel bad about potentially not drawing another one, because you'll have 3 copies, so you're going to draw into another one eventually, and so you don't mind, you know, even if you have to bounce 2 creatures to your opponent's hand just so you don't, you know, die, things like that. So I definitely found that 3 copies of this have been pretty helpful. But I could see Teferi if you want to do that. Obviously, you know, it pluses to draw and discard, so it'll trigger with your tutelage. Not a big fan of discarding in like control decks, because you need lands, you need spells, you kind of don't want to discard anything really. Even the tutelage feels kind of awkward discarding sometimes. You kind of have to really kind of pick your poison sometimes. Sometimes, you know, the discards are easy, you know, like a land or whatever if you're doing fine on lands. But yeah, obviously it's kind of one of the better things you can be doing in mill besides the Rune Crab. And since we're running Shatter the Skies, don't really like doing that, so not gonna run the Rune Crab here. We're just trying to keep the board clear of all creatures, so I don't think it's worth getting just 1 or 2 triggers off of a Rune Crab. I mean, there's Blood Chief Service, so much efficient removal that Rune Crab probably just dies a lot of times anyway. It doesn't really seem worth it to me personally with what we're trying to do here. We're trying to focus on other more interesting things that don't see a ton of play, like Valakut Awakening. Narset even doesn't see a ton of play. I've seen like CGB and things like that. People like that do Jeskai control with Narset, so definitely see some play in those lists, and we're kind of borrowing from that playbook a little bit. We do have some synergies here with her minus discarding cards, you know, things like that. But otherwise, yeah, just kind of focus on the card draw aspect. With Omen, Fire Prophecy, even Midnight Clock can kind of turbo mill out your opponent, so definitely feels worth running this in your main deck. Felt kind of awkward at first, but you know, when you think about it, it really makes a lot of sense. But that draw 7 cards, and there's not a lot of artifact removal at the sideboard sometimes to deal with, you know, Emerald Cleaves and things like that. But otherwise, yeah, not a ton of play. So yeah, even though we did get down from 3 temples to 2 of each temple, it still felt like we had a pretty good mana base. Didn't really have any issues with you know, tapping for the lands we needed. So definitely think that was the right call. Just going to 2 of each of the temples, and then even just 2 of the pathways felt fine, as long as you have all the triomes here. And otherwise, you can kind of just spread out your basics, your tap lands as needed, and then even, you know, you have 2 of each of these spell lands here, Emeria's Call, Seagate, and the Valakut Awakening to kind of help balance out with, you know, red, white, and blue as well. Sideboard, you know, haven't really got a whole lot of use of Disenchant, so maybe we don't need it since we have negates and things like that. Maybe maybe even some like Heliod's might be a little bit better here. But yeah, just having instant speed to deal with like the Emerald Cleave, like I already said, feels pretty good. But hopefully in the mono red matchup or Gruul matchups, you're able to just kill their creatures anyway. But having this disenchant backup still feels pretty good. But maybe it could be Heliod's, just it's more versatile against like the colorless decks that are still floating around a little bit. Otherwise, yeah, Ox obviously has become kind of an important sideboard piece against the mill type matchups. Sublime Epiphany. Could be more copies, but you know, we have enough efficient removal here, not removal, but counter magic and negates Neutralize and Mystical Disputes, so I don't think we need necessarily run more, because we don't necessarily have a ton of creatures that we're going to be copying off of this. Elspeth Conquers Death, just good value. Can get our Narset back, at least. Or Ox, if we're depending on the matchup. But otherwise, not a ton of creatures to get back, so maybe Elspeth Conquers Death isn't as good here, but could be like some more. Well, we already have 3 Banishing Lights in the main, but could be some other spell here for Elspeth Conquers Death maybe, but still a pretty good card. Obviously, with all of our card draw, we're going to find our Narsets. But yeah, like I said, you could run probably just run 2 ultimatums and 4 Shark Typhoons if you're going to run this. And then, could slide a Teferi in here if you want. Like if you don't have 2 Narsets, just run Teferi instead, things like that. But otherwise, the list feels pretty solid with where it's at. So yeah, a little bit different take on Mill. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, make sure you jank with purpose.